Why are Democrats seemingly more concerned about everything else under the sun except the American people? This Kilmar Abrego Garcia situation, the Maryland man who was deported to El Salvador, is the latest example of Democrats prioritizing illegals over the American people. I'm going to break down this entire situation. I'm going to give you both sides. If you're not caught up with this, if you're not read up on this, this is the video for you. Let's go. How's it going, everybody? Dave Medina here. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and follow me at Dave Medina PDX across all social media. It's been about 10 days, Producer Vlad. Producer Vlad is here in the house with us right now. Hey, it's been about 10 days, man. I mean, we had a good rest. I think, what did we do? We did like 1 day of work last week, and then yeah, it's really nice. What did you get done in the house?
Did a lot of trash removal and yard work, and
you got stuff done. You got stuff done.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a while. So last week was Holy Week, and so I kind of just took that off, and I'm kind of recovering from being a little sick over the last part of Holy Week. So it's good to be back, though. I'm feeling great today, feeling a lot better. Got my coffee. We're here in the Pacific Northwest. We've been having some amazing weather here. I don't know. I mean, if you're not from the Pacific Northwest, that's okay. It's one of the most beautiful areas. If you're outside of here, you always think of the Pacific Northwest as Portland and Seattle and Chaz and the 2020 riots. I'm telling you, this is the most beautiful part of the United States. Especially today. It's sunny. It's going to be like in the 70s today. Oh, it's amazing. The only problem with people like me is the allergies. Do you have allergies, Producer Vlad? God, man, it hits us this time of year. But anyways, it's just good to be back, man. And there's just so much that happened over the week. I mean, you had the Pope die yesterday, and you have this story with Kilmar, and we got a new scene. Check this out. Boom. I'm bigger. Why? I'm so big. Am I too big? Am I too big? Producer Vlad said
that sounds like a question that you should consider for yourself.
Am I too big? I'm kind of big. We're kind of like, whoa, like we're kind of like we're like in your face, dude. You guys let me know in the comments. I just figured, there's a lot of elderly people that watch this show, and I heard a comment that said, yeah, I can't see your face. Okay, well, here it is, right? Hopefully it's not too big. But this freaking, I just feel like I'm like a giant. Anyways, this is my freaking ADD, dude. We were messing with this before this recording and before the show today. And by the way, it's Tuesday, April 22nd. But this story seems to keep dragging out. This Maryland man. Now, if you haven't read up on this, we're going to show you all sides of this. We're going to show you what the left is saying. And we always want to have a balanced approach. I'm not on here to always just like, take the right side or be the devil's advocate. I want to show you what is being said from both sides. And then I'm going to give you my take like I always do. And sometimes it just seems like the people on the right are more in line with common sense and facts. And that's where we lie. There's only one truth. I say it in all my social media platforms. There's only one truth. And we just try to seek out that truth. You always hear those people say, there's my truth, there's your truth. No, there's one truth. There's just the truth. And so this story with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Now this is a guy who the Trump administration has deported back to El Salvador because they said he was involved with MS-13. He was a gang member, and that's their argument is that he was involved in gangs, and they claim that he's still involved with MS-13 here in the United States. Even during his arrest, they said that Garcia was found with rolls of cash and different. He has tattoos and he had different clothing on, and he had all these things that signaled that he was still involved in MS-13. Okay. MS-13, by the way, is a gang organization that has been deemed a terrorist organization by the United States of America. MS-13 is one of the most deadly, one of the most organized gang that the United States has ever seen. I dealt with some MS-13 people when I worked at the Department of Corrections. When I worked at the Juvenile Corrections, they will initiate some of these kids as young as 10. Into these gangs, and you can always tell if they're a gang member because they mark themselves as gang members. They literally have tattoos. They wear certain clothing that will communicate that they're what gang they're part of, and so MS-13 has been deemed as a terrorist organization by the Trump administration. So their goal is we're going to focus on those guys, on the gang members, the people, the illegal criminals. They're illegal here anyways. They're criminals. But the ones that are committing crimes and the ones that are part of these gangs, we're getting them out because those are the most dangerous. Now, the left's argument on this is, basically Garcia he hasn't committed any crimes in the United States, and he was granted asylum, and he wasn't given due process. He wasn't given a trial. He wasn't given a fair trial. See, when someone's illegal and they go to get deported, they usually have a trial, correct? They have a trial, they have an attorney, and it's part of like our I think I don't agree with it, but it's part of like
they have a right to fight it and to present their case, like why they're here illegally and why they shouldn't be deported, what they're doing to like contribute, and why they should be allowed to stay. And that's how some people do end up getting asylum or just things. Because the first time he was arrested was in 2019, and that's where he was granted this withholding of removal, his status.
And which is the difference between the withholding, removal, and asylum. There's a difference between that, right?
Yeah, so the difference, let me pull up the tab right here. Yep. So the difference, a person granted asylum is protected from being returned to his or her home country.
So he wasn't Garcia was not granted asylum, which is what a lot of the left and the Democrats are saying. By the way. Go ahead.
And so asylum allows you to be eligible to apply for authorization to work in the U.S. and allows you to apply for a Social Security card, and you can request permission to travel overseas and petition to bring family members in. And they're also eligible for Medicaid, refugee medical assistance, and then eventually they can get green card or citizenship. Whereas the withholding of removal, it provides a form of protection that is less certain than asylum, leaving its recipients in a sort of limbo. A person who is granted withholding of removal may never leave the U.S. Without executing that removal order. They cannot petition to bring family members, and they do not gain a path.
So he has a lower, he applied for asylum, right? Because he's afraid that Garcia, according to him, he's afraid that he's going to get attacked by rival gangs back in El Salvador because he used to be part of a gang. But he's not doing that in the United States anymore. See, the left is painting him as this, like, he got married. He got married to a U.S. citizen. He's got a family, and you're tearing a family man away from his family. And it's like, dude, no, there's a little bit more to this story. And because when I first saw that, I was like, okay, wait, he didn't get due process. That's our laws, right? Like, that's what our law grants people like this. So why aren't we following that? Well, it turns out that this guy the Trump administration is saying that there's all different kinds of signs that he's part of MS-13. There's all different kinds of signs that he's still involved in MS-13. When he was arrested in 2019, correct? Yeah. When he was arrested in 2019 in the United States, he was with two MS-13 he was not just arrested, but he was also arrested with two MS-13 gang members that were with him, and he had all different clothing on that said he was part of it, that he was still part of that gang. See, when people leave gangs, they don't continue wearing the clothing. They don't continue wearing the signs. They don't want to be part of that. If this guy, and as someone, I do consider myself kind of an expert because I trained on how to spot gangs and about live gang culture. We went through weeks of it within the state of Oregon when I was training to be the Department of Corrections for the juvenile correctional facility. They trained you on gang culture. They trained you on when someone wants to leave a gang, they don't continue wearing the clothes, because when you're out, you're out. And usually you have to get uninitiated or you have to get permission to leave the gang. And then you have to either do an act or you have to get your butt beat. You got to do something to leave that gang. And so most of the time, these guys, if he really was a family man, he's not going to continue wearing the gang affiliation stuff. And a lot of them, they will cover up they'll get their tattoos removed, or they'll cover it up because they don't want to be part of that anymore. Because when you wear that stuff, you are saying you are currently actively involved in that gang. And this guy, that's what the Trump administration is saying. And sure, okay, the left is saying, well, there's no due process, right? There's no due process. House Democrats and the Democrats across the nation are saying there was no due process. This is an American citizen. No, he's not an American citizen. Actually, he's in limbo, which is what we just read to you. He's not an American citizen. He wasn't granted. He wasn't completely through that process yet, and he's been found to have heavy gang involvement, with one of the gangs being one of the gangs that was designated a terrorist organization by the United States government, and so. It's just really weird that the left, if it's really weird that they're choosing this hill to die on. It just shows you how much they hate Trump. Honestly, this is what this is about. Everything that the left complains about, I look at it through a lens of they're just doing it to get Trump. They're just trying to find something to make Trump look bad. These guys will never actually look for real problems that America is facing, because it's all about making Orange Man and his administration looking bad. Look at what they're focused on. They're not focused on anything else. They're not focused on the victims of these crimes that from these illegal criminals. They're not focused on making America a better place, on helping Trump with the trade war. It's all about, the negative effects. They're going to focus on that with the trade war, with how it affects Americans, and never mind why the trade war is happening. These guys aren't serious, man. They're not serious people. And they're just going to do whatever is going to hurt Trump. And they cherry picked this guy, Abrego Garcia. They chose this guy and I was telling producer Vlad, they're never going to choose a situation that is black and white, that is easily disproved. They're always going to choose something that's gray, because these guys don't stand on truth. So they're going to choose something that they can like make the headline, like, oh, Maryland man gets taken away from his family. No, he wasn't like this. This wasn't a family man. This was a illegal gang member who all signs point to that he was still involved with the MS-13 gang. Why are they choosing? And they're even going as far as to visiting this guy. The Maryland senator we saw last week visited. Where's that one? This guy Van Hollen, Chris Van Hollen, the senator out of Maryland, literally goes. I mean, this is their priorities. They go and visit Garcia in El Salvador, which is where he's at right now. And they go and visit him, and they literally are like making this guy out to be like the American martyr, like their party's martyr. It's insane.
What's funny too is that him and his wife both claim that he's never even been affiliated with gangs. He said that he like fought against rival gangs in El Salvador because they're trying to extort his mom's business. They're trying to ask for money for protection, as they do like a racket. And he said that him and his older brother fought against like the rival gang of MS-13, but they were never a part of it. It was just like the hood that ran their hood.
Yeah.
And
so they were just like militiamen for the MS-13. They never were a part of it. But if they got the tattoos though, and they're wearing all the clothing, but they never were a part of it. Yeah. Okay. So this is Garcia here with the senator from Maryland, and you're just thinking to yourself, man, these are these guys' priorities. It's insane. Like this is the priorities here. You're making this guy out to be the martyr. And they just seem to ignore. So here was the press release from the Homeland Security, the real story behind Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The mainstream media has peddled a sob story about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The fact is, he is an illegal alien from El Salvador, an MS-13 gang member. This is from Homeland Security, and has a history of violence. When Garcia was arrested, he was found with rolls of cash and drugs. He was arrested with 2 other members of MS-13. These are the quick facts that the Department of Homeland Security. When arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money covering the ears, mouth, and eyes of presidents on various currency denominations. This is known as an MS-13 gang member gang symbol of see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil. So like, if it sounds like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. 2 judges found that he was a member of MS-13. So 2 judges, so separate of everything that the Trump administration is doing, found that he was a member of MS-13. That finding has not been contested, it has not been disturbed. Intelligence reports found that he was involved in human trafficking. He is an illegal alien from El Salvador. Again, they literally pick, the Democrats pick these situations here. And I don't know if you guys can read this with me. Let me zoom it in a little bit for you guys. I mean, the Democrats literally pick these issues like the George Floyd that are like gray. It's not like black and white, it's gray. And I feel like they do this on purpose because they are able to lie to their people and give them one side. And really they just ignore all of these facts that we're reading right here. And then you see El Salvador rejects. And so all these Democrats are flying to El Salvador on the taxpayer dime. Well, actually, James Comer, the House leader, no, not the House leader, the House, one of the leaders in the House of Representatives in DC, basically denied taxpayer use for the latest round of Democrats that have gone to El Salvador. But the Maryland senator went to El Salvador to try to meet with this guy. And then you saw Oregon's own, and these are the 4 other Representative Robert Garcia, Maxwell Alejandro Frost from Florida, Arizona Representative, and Oregon's own Maxine Dexter. We saw that yesterday. Here was her video on that.
Congresswoman Maxine Dexter here, coming to you from El Salvador. I flew here last night with 3 of my colleagues to demand that Kilmar Abrego Garcia be released. He is being held in violation of a Supreme Court order expressly telling the Trump administration to effectuate and facilitate his coming home. That is being ignored.
It's being ignored because of the illegal. I'm sorry, just can't. What's the act? John, don't look at me like I have a third eye. Like, help me out here. He's just like, look at me.
So it's called the Alien Enemies Act.
Alien Enemies Act. That's right.
And so the Supreme Court order, they voted 7-2 to stop Trump from using that act to deport Venezuelan gang members and MS-13 gang members because they're citing that it doesn't give them due process. But that's literally the whole point of that act. Like that's they're literally just like they're saying you can't use that act because it doesn't follow the Constitution when the act specifically says it can circumvent the Constitution because it is to be used in cases of emergency with alien enemies.
And it's so funny that these Democrats they'll one day say that the Supreme Court's compromised and that we should ignore it and that blah blah blah, and then one day they're using it, they're citing it as with their argument. It's just these guys are just.
This is not just a threat to all people in the United States who could be illegally abducted, detained, and transported internationally against their will. But it is a fact that our president does not recognize the branches of government and the balances of power. This is what we all have been calling a constitutional crisis. See,
they were trying to find an issue to go along with Trump is attacking our democracy. They want to keep that up because it fires their base up more than anything. When you can convince people that democracy and that the Constitution is under attack, you can convince them to do anything. You can convince them to believe anything. And they chose this guy, an MS-13 founded gang member, to be their martyr for the Trump is attacking democracy. Do you see why we're so divided? If these guys, I'm telling you, if it was any other president doing this, this would not even be a story. They're trying to do it because they're trying to make MAGA go away. They're trying to make Trump go away. They're trying to make the whole movement look bad. And and unfortunately, they have a lot of their people that believe this stuff. It's unfortunate.
You know what a funny part about this whole thing with the protecting the Constitution and democracy is as well? When Obama was president, he said that the Constitution is the old document that we should tear up and rewrite. And now they want to protect the Constitution because the Constitution is something we should follow. Like that was their whole viewpoint back then. The Constitution is old. The Second Amendment is old. It only talks about like firearms that could fire single bullets and take 10 minutes to reload, not AR-15s that you can fire.
That's a great point.
Like they use all these excuses, and they still sometimes use that. They're like, these laws were written, like that's what they say. The Alien Enemies Act was written in 1798. It doesn't apply today.
Yeah. They just double standards. I mean, their whole party is just built on double standards, man. They talk out both sides of their mouth. I mean, it's just so unfortunate how great this country could be right now, how much greater it could be if our Democrats would stop playing politics and actually just like, I'm not saying Trump's a perfect guy. He's like the perfect, and he does every decision he makes is perfect or is right. But my gosh, there's got to be better issues to fight Trump on than this guy. And making this guy be your poster child for fighting against democracy. But this is the Oregon Democrat, man. Leave it to an Oregon Democrat to not look at what's going on here in Oregon and see how the federal government maybe help negotiate. Like Trump's about to like pull Oregon's funding that would cripple our economy. I mean, if you're in Oregon or a state that's about ready to get their I would say a state that relies on the federal, like Oregon does, you rely on federal dollars for almost half your budget. It's going to get really bad here. If Trump ends up pulling the funding because the Oregon Democrats are refusing to get rid of their DEI policies and refusing to allow men to be in women's sports. It's just crazy that they're dying on that hill. And meanwhile, they're going to blame Trump for putting Oregonians at risk. No, it's your party that is choosing. The party that says no one is above the law is choosing to say no to the federal government's like lawful orders. And so, dude, I mean, remember this.
I've been told I have 30 seconds, so I am going to tell you that we do have to, I don't swear in public very well, but we have to fuck Trump.
Oh my gosh. That's disgusting, lady. That's disgusting. We all remember Maxine Dexter. Look at her. She's just it's like a jack-o'-lantern. Sorry, Jesus. I promised I would. But you know, guys, the thing is like, we're choosing to die on this hill. I mean, this guy, like, there's got to be another case that's a little that doesn't involve a gang member. I swear they choose these cases because it will cause the most division and chaos. Because I'm sure there's plenty of other cases you could have chosen of deportations of people that weren't gang members that are being deported, but they chose this guy. It just makes you wonder, man, like who really is sowing this division? So anyways, look, I'm smaller again. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments, but there's the full breakdown. I mean, those are the facts, guys. Where that is what, I mean, do you really think the Homeland Security is not going to just make it up and what they're going to make up? 2 judges declared that he was an MS-13 gang member? No, he is. And so you're going to see the left try to wiggle out of all these narratives to create their own and to try to hurt Trump. I mean, they're doing it to Pete Hegseth right now. These guys are a tragedy. They will be the downfall of this country. The Democrats will be the downfall and weak Republicans that refuse to stand up to them.
And the thing is, this guy isn't innocent either. Like, he might have been recently married to a U.S. citizen, have a family, be working legally with a permit, but he originally came to the U.S. at 16 years old in 2012 illegally. He crossed, and he admittedly in court said when he was applying for the withholding of removal that he crossed in 2012 with his older brother, his older brother became a U.S. citizen, and he crossed illegally, moved to Maryland when his older brother has been living there, and he's been there since. So, I mean, he's not innocent. He's not just a random Joe that's legal. He admitted to coming here illegally.
And these are who the Democrats want to prop up as their poster child. Not Laken Riley. Not any of these other American lives that have been lost at the hands of illegal immigrants. No, we're gonna pop up Garcia, an MS-13 gang member that was declared. I'm not calling him a gang member. That's what 2 judges said, and that's what our Homeland Security is saying. But anyways, like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me at Dave Medina PDX across all social media. Thanks for tuning in. It's good to be back, and we'll make sure we'll keep pumping this out for you guys today. We got more stuff to talk about. We'll talk to you. We'll see you on the next one.